So I mentioned before that I do customer marketing, and that means I spend a lot of time talking with customers, and it's something that I absolutely love doing. And I'm always fired up after every conversation, but particularly when I get to talk with our next speaker. John Morris is the SVP of Development at KState University Foundation, and this is a man that loves fundraising and understands that philanthropy is a way to solve some of the biggest problems in the world. And he's all about taking everything that we're doing and making it go up and to the right, up and to the right. And every time I hear that from him, I'm like, yes! And I want to run through a brick wall and fundraise and wear purple and like do stuff like that. So John's a great guy. He has a great team, and we're really excited to have him take the Raise stage this afternoon. So round of applause for John Morris.
Purple, so you certainly pulled that off pretty well. So thank you for having me. It's great to be with you all. Talk to you a little bit. Actually, that was a great lead-in. I am a Sandler sales-trained fundraiser. That was how I started my career, so you don't need your business. The tagline is close the sale or close the file. Our gift officers probably have heard me say that from time to time, so that was excellent content. Loved hearing it. So we're at a crossroads. Not just in Manhattan, Kansas. We're about to end a capital campaign that we've been on for about 10 years. June 30th, we will close that out, and we're going to go a different direction. As we stand at this crossroads, we're going to take a different path than we've took previously over the last 20 years. But more so, I think our sector is at a crossroads. The optimist, read the headlines. The greatest transfer of wealth is going to happen in this country over the next 10 to 20 years. The opportunity for philanthropy has never been better. The pessimist, you're going to read it. You're going to read headlines, and you're going to read things about tax law changes. You're going to read about no regulations on donor-advised funds. You're going to see donor decline. You're going to see that we rely on the very tippy top of our pyramid for all of our success. We're not immune to those challenges at KState University Foundation either. We came off of a record $212 million year last year. 44,000 people gave in that year. 39 were responsible for 130 of that million. That's not uncommon. It's not too much different than what you all are experiencing, but we're experiencing the same donor declines as everybody else. So these challenges are real. We have to address them. However, I think the biggest challenge that we're facing as an industry is a talent problem. You've all probably seen recently some of the studies that the Chronicle of Philanthropy published and others. 50% of you frontline fundraisers out there plan on leaving your job in 2 years. 30% of you plan on leaving the profession entirely. Gift officer, tenure, somewhere around 18 months. I don't think we just have a talent quantity problem. I think we have a talent quality problem. I understand I'm saying that to a room full of advancement people. I'm not talking about you. Right? I'm talking about everybody else. We've put up barriers. Our sector has not attracted the most talented people to our work, period. I want to understand why. Why is that? Why are we not an aspirational profession? How many of you found this job by accident? How many of you wandered into this profession? This job should be aspirational. What we do is too dang important for people to get here on accident. If you want to make a difference in the world, this is the profession you should want to be in. So what's amiss? What are we missing there? By 2025, millennials and younger is estimated to make up about 75% of our workforce. Okay? So 3 out of every 4 are going to be in this category, which I'm one of those people. And what do these generations want? In addition to good compensation, work-life balance, they want purpose. Beyond corporate success, they want to know that their work makes a difference to society, to the world that they live in. Guys, we should corner the market on purpose. How have we not been capitalizing to attract the most talented people? Our work has so much purpose on the macro to our worlds, to our campuses, but to our donors. The most often thing we hear after we close a gift from the person who just wrote you that check or made the largest financial commitment of their life outside of purchasing a home is, thank you. We should corner the market on purpose. So why not? Why do we have this talent problem? Because we're missing one thing, one other thing that this generation and others require, and that's innovation. We've been on the same path for 30 years. Essentially, how we do our business is the same way we were doing it 30 years ago. Go to Brent's slides this morning. We're Blockbuster still. We're Sears, right? We're not Amazon, we're not Netflix, we're not Target. We've been holding on to this same tradition. So how do we evolve? More importantly, what's getting in our way of innovation? What's stopping us? What's making us hold on to tradition? When I ask my colleagues around the country, why are you going to do another campaign? Why are you going to continue to be on this same path? The number one reason I hear, it helps me get resources, it helps me get my shop in order, implement metrics, and produce change. If that's a good idea at the launch of a campaign, why isn't it just the way we do business? Why can't we run ourselves as a business model that is highly accountable, driven by data and metrics, that produces outcomes? We've held up our profession a lot as an art, right? As all about relationships. And that guards us from accountability. It guards us from real measures, from real change, and from implementing these sorts of things. However, if we standardize, we build our fundamentals. If we build our fundamentals to the pipeline building that you just heard about, and that sustains forever, we can innovate. So that's what we set out to do at Kansas State University Foundation. About 4 years ago, we went public on this campaign that we're in. Our most ambitious campaign to raise $1 billion. At the time, we were raising about $125, $130 million a year. We had about 25, 27 gift officers. But we had a challenge, and that we have relatively low capacity at Kansas State. The wealthiest schools, your top tier, so the top tier schools, the proportion of your entire database with a net worth of $2 million or more, high net worth people, is about 30%. So top tier schools, that's the sort of wealth that you get to work with. Bottom tier, the lowest percentage, right, of your population that is high net worth is about 16%. Ours is 11, okay? So we're at the bottom of the bottom. Now, we've launched this campaign, we're into this, and about 6 months later, we decide to institute our fundamentals, to change the way that we do business. And what we created is what we affectionately call the KState way. It's our sales system. This is how we go about doing our business. We've standardized it. It's data-driven. This is how we do our work. It's integrated throughout the entire organization. Right? So we have outcome goals on every department. If you're a portfolio analyst, you are not only judged by the work that you do, but by the performance of the officers that you support. Same in other areas. We tie all that performance together. But more so, it's training. It's coaching. It's development. How many fundraisers when you got into this business? Here's your list. Go out and fundraise. We've standardized it. We've created a system. In addition, in your 90-day onboarding experience when you come to Kansas State University Foundation, in addition to getting to know your colleagues, embracing our culture, being a part of what we do, learning the departments, learning our language, we do a lot of shadow visits, but we also do a 2-day course on our sales training. It's made up of 2 days, and the first day is our non-negotiables. This is the way that you prospect. This is the way you reach out to prospects. This is what you say. This is what you don't say. This is how you conduct a qualification visit. Here are the answers to the questions you have to have. This is how you ask for money. This is how you build your portfolio. This is how you steward. This is how you re-engage. It is non-negotiable. We hand them that sales manual, and they refer to it a lot of times over their first year. We bring in other professionals, so it's not just new people. We integrate other successful fundraisers. We bring in other departments to provide perspective. It's non-negotiable. This is how we're going to do it here. Day 2 is all about you. We're a strengths-based organization. We use Clifton Strengths, and we spend that day with a lot of self-awareness activity to understand who you are, what are you uniquely talented at, what are you uniquely skilled at, and how do you apply that to the KState way? How do you make that work? How do you make that system work for you? Now, I get a little bit of criticism for that approach. John, fundraisers aren't robots. You're not trying to make fundraisers 2.0. They're not machines. I'd also tell you that our gift officer tenure is over 6 years. And I'd also tell you that we are the only university development organization, the only institution-related foundation in the country that is a certified great place to work as polled by our employees. 94% of our staff say this is a great place to work. We're the only ones in the business with that distinction. The other thing I'd tell you is that it works. It gets results on the macro and on the individual side. So we can tell candidates when they come to work for us, if you follow our system and you're disciplined enough to hit your metrics, you will be in the top 10% of this industry. Not a year from now, not 2 years from now, immediately. We can make you that productive. Our average gift officer raises over $4 million. National average is about 1.8. Our average gift officer conducts over 155 visits. Average is about 85. Our average gift officer closes between 20 and 25 major gifts a year. National average somewhere around 10 to 12. We were an organization that raised about $130 million from 330 major gifts. We now raise over $200 million from about $575 major gifts. We do all this to spend about 10 cents on a dollar, which national average is about 25 cents. It works, and our people love it. They thrive. They're earning their pinnacle career experience. They are becoming our best recruiters. So we feel like we're fundamentally sound. We feel like we have the blocks in place to innovate. Our pipeline has never been stronger. We just came off of a record year. Our portfolio looks better this year than it did last year. It's going to look better next year and the year after that. Work the system, nurture the system, make it work. So we stand ready to innovate. And now we need to understand a little bit more about our donor base. And so EAB, Advancement Resources, has done a lot of good work in this area to really understand what are those deliberations, what are those questions that donors are asking themselves before they make a decision. Now, while we focused all of this on the top pyramid and we've defended the bottom of the funnel, how do we make this work up the funnel, down the pyramid? What we're seeing is that the expectations really aren't that different. Whether if you can write a check for $50,000 or you're deliberating and make an investment for $50. So what are those questions? First and foremost, what donors are asking themselves, is this how I want to change the world? Is this the right investment for how I want to change the world? What we've been selling them is, hey, we're trying to raise $10 million to build this building, 3 feet. We're selling them a 3-foot vision. How is that how I want to change the world? 4 walls and a roof, how I want to change the world, versus let's come together to raise money for this building so that we can attract the most talented researchers, to have them work alongside our deserving students to study and research precision agriculture so that when the global population reaches 9 billion in 2050, we can feed the world. Let's sell feed the world, not 4 walls and a roof. Next question, how do I fit in? Am I just the checkbook here? Am I just another donor count? Who's doing the work? Do I trust them? Are they credible? Do they care about me? This is engagement, folks. It's really easy to engage on the major gift side. How do we mimic that all the way down? Down the pyramid, up the funnel. We got tools. Some of those videos you saw this morning, what a great way to engage, to validate. This is how you fit in. This is how you help solve the problem. You're more than just a donor account. You're more than just a checkbook. This is how you fit in. Credible people doing important work. We can connect our people and engage them all the way through this pyramid, through the funnel. Next thing they want to know, and the bigger the dollar amount, the bigger the expectation, what's going to change? If you start here, you add my gift, where are you then? We start on a bicycle, you add my gift, now are we driving a car? What we've been selling, hey, we've been riding this bike, it's kind of old, we'd love your gift so we can put on new tires. The bigger the gift, the bigger the expectation. The first thing that I'll ask a dean, a department head, a president, when we're working on a transformational gift is, are you ready to be transformed? Are you ready to function differently than you did in the past? Because that's the expectation. Now, again, that's transformative gifts, but it's down at the bottom of the pyramid as well. How is this going to make a difference and create change? And finally, donors are asking themselves, did they get it right? If I'm going to give again, did they accomplish what we set out to do? Close. Well, close counts and horseshoes and hand grenades. This is not what I gave you money for. I gave you money to help accomplish these goals. Did we do it, yes or no? Good news is we can hardwire those expectations. Don't go out and promise a national championship if we finish this south end zone, right? But promise progress. Don't go promise we're going to feed the world. We're going to discover how we're going to, and you have to report back on it. You have to use that engagement. Did we get it right? So we're fundamentally sound. Our pipeline is strong. We know the deliberations and the questions our donors are asked. Can we have a different solution to the way that we do our business? Can we mimic major giving experience that we're offering at the top of the pyramid, at the bottom of the funnel, down? Can we offer that experience while solving the problems facing our campuses? So we set out to do that. With this campaign well in hand, we said, well, let's try a couple things. Let's test this out. If we're going to go on a different path, let's see if it works. And the first thing we did is what we call the K-State Family Scholarship. We've been doing this for about 2 years. The purpose here was attack a problem on our campus, and that was affordability, student support. The second initiative internally was, can we build out, can we widen our major gifts? Can we get more people to give major gifts than had before? People that had not yet made a major gift, can we entice them quickly through different means to make a major gift? So what the K-State Family Scholarship is essentially a matching program where you as a donor can pledge up to 5 years, $30,000, and it's going to get matched by another donor at $30,000. Money immediately goes to students, so we set aside $10,000 to immediately get in the students' hands, and then we endow the rest so that we have Band-Aids and sutures. We don't have to go solve this problem again 5 years because we used all your money, right? So it has that sort of doubling impact. We've had 5 families step up and say, this is a great idea, I want to help you do this, to be the seed funding for that. So we launched this 2 years ago. Prior to 2 years ago, as a traditionalist, I might have told you, you can't raise money through social media. You can't raise major gifts through social media. You can't raise major gifts through magazine articles. And you can't raise major gifts with volunteers. So in the 2 years since we've launched that, I've been proven wrong. I'm very happy about that. So Twitter, right? We set out a whole engagement strategy to tell this story via Twitter. And a prospect that our gift officer in the College of Architecture had been working with to try to make him make a decision saw this story in his Twitter feed. Direct message back, Damon, this is awesome. I want one, $30,000. From zero to major gift donor, converted immediately. We have earned 5, no less than 5, major gifts through magazine articles, telling this story through magazines. I know because my contact information is at the bottom of the article, and it's my phone that rings, and no less than 5 times has somebody called and said, I just read this article in the K-Stater about the K-State Family Scholarship. My husband and I would like to do that. That's the greatest lead I can push out to a gift officer to close that gift in about 2 weeks, okay? And finally, my favorite story about you can't raise major gifts through volunteers. It's a K-Stater walks into a bar, and quite literally, a K-Stater walked into a bar. One of our volunteers was traveling to our bowl game in Phoenix, Arizona, and he had a layover in Dallas-Fort Worth. And he walks into the airport bar, sees some friendly people wearing purple, and he sits down next to him and starts talking. You guys are going to the game? Yep, we're very excited. Who are you? Tell me a little bit about yourself. Well, it turns out it's a couple that our fundraisers have been trying to track down, and they've been keeping us at arm's length for about 5 or 6 years. He engages in the story, tells them about the K-State Family Scholarship, and he says, well, that's a really good idea. We've always thought it would be cool to have a scholarship. And I'm not kidding you, at the bar in Dallas-Fort Worth, they take out their checkbook and they script a check for $30,000 and hand it to our volunteer who brings it back. So, in 2 years, we've funded 185 of those. 185 people that weren't major gift donors are now major gift donors. Over $400,000 are in kids' hands right now. $11.5 million is endowed in perpetuity in 2 years. The cumulative cash giving to students of those 184 households prior to this was about $700,000. It's $4.5 million. We solved the problem. We grew our pyramid. Right? We made major giving available to these folks in a unique way. So if that works, if it works in the middle of the funnel, can this work in the beginning? Can we give this same experience for $50, $25, $100 gifts? So a little more than a year ago, we decided again, hey, we got some opportunity here. Campaign's in good shape. Let's test out another initiative. I resisted a giving day for the first 2.5 years besides all the pressure that I was getting from my board and others to tell me, hey, we got to do one of these. KU's doing one. We got to do one. You guys got to do one. Resisted because we have to get the fundamentals right. I don't need a distraction from our gift officers. Their focus is get visits, conduct visits, follow up on visits. We can't have a distraction. But we're in good shape, right? We're fundamentally sound. Let's test it out. Let's try it. So as we always do, we set out to gather some information. We put our case intern, his entire project over the summer was go research all the giving days. What works? What doesn't work? What's effective? And then our staff came out here to raise and came back. And I remember the moment quite vividly. Eric Holderness, our associate vice president, who you're going to hear from tomorrow, comes into my office and he says, John, we're going to do this giving day, and we're going to pick one thing. We're going to pick one project, and that's what everybody's going to give to that day. Now, 51% of me was saying, oh my God, that's brilliant. That fits in perfectly of what we're trying to do. And the other 49% of me was thinking, God, I hope this works. And I think we said that even the night before we kicked this thing off. So the team assembled, faculty, staff, and they kind of built a group to say, basically put a request for a proposal to campus and said, hey, what's a problem that can be solved with money? Send us that. We'll evaluate it. Give us a fundable idea. Just so happens that the cause was food insecurity, and the selection was our food pantry, which we call Cat's Cupboard. So from that selection gave us the chance to go educate. What is food insecurity? What's that mean? Right? It means that 40% of our students don't always know where their next meal is going to come from. That they're choosing between eating, right, and paying for textbooks. It's an indicator for student success. Graduation matriculation, it's a big problem, and I'm sure many of you in the room have heard this and dealt with this. But we had to educate our donors, our prospects, and this is what it is. We had to educate them on the day. We came up with All In for KState, one cause, one day. And on March 27th, we launched this day. About 1,400 people decided that day that this was the cause for them and made gifts, totaling about $320,000. That's over 2 years' budget for Cat's Cupboard and 10 times the amount of fundraising that they had the previous year. We attracted new major donors, first-time major donors, including a corporate partner we had never engaged before, who just heard what we were doing and said, that aligns with our corporate needs. We want to do that. We've done this at other institutions, about $5,000. Their investment into Cat's Cupboard that day was $50,000. 115 people who had never given to the university gave that day and solved that problem. It works at all levels. So this leads us to a different purpose of philanthropy, a different purpose from $1.4 billion. We are in innovation and inspiration, the campaign to raise $1.4 billion for Kansas State. That's been our purpose, and that's been the purpose for about 30 years. Every gift matters. Give your money. Support the $1.4 billion campaign. It's your alma mater. You love us. Obligation. Nostalgia. It's been the purpose there. So when that's the purpose, and that entry funnel prospect says, well, what difference does my $100 make in $1.4 billion? The hollow answer is every gift counts, right? It all matters. It all adds up. The honest answer, it doesn't mean anything. If the purpose is $1.4 billion, it's less than a rounding error, if that's the purpose. But if we change the purpose to solving problems that you care about, what does my $100 mean? On March 27th in Manhattan, Kansas, it meant that you provided 30 meals for kids who didn't know where their next one was coming from. That's what it means. So we stand at this opportunity. We're about to close this campaign. We could stay on this hamster wheel. Our story would be this. Thank you, K-State family, for coming together over the last 10 years to raise $1.4 billion for students, faculty, facilities, and programs. The greatest accomplishment we've made. Our previous campaign, 10 years prior, we raised about $500 million for students, faculty, facilities, program. Now I'm asking you to come together for the next 10 years as we try to raise $2.5 billion for students, faculty, facilities, and programs. We could stay on that path. We'll probably hit the goal, Our donor count will decline. What would lead us to believe that we're not going to experience a 2% annual decline if we continue to do it the same way? Our redundant reliance on the same prospects will continue, and will continue to provide a barrier to new talent coming to our industry. We'll hit the goal, but our pipeline will continue to shrink, and we won't solve our talent problem. So can we tell a different story? Can we take a new direction? Instead of let's all come together for $1.4 billion to raise in the same general pots that we've been raising for the last 30 years, because of your gifts of $25 to $25 million, we zeroed out hunger on our campus. We made higher education for 185 first-generation students. We've launched 7 new academic programs aligned with what industry needs today, not predicting what it needs 8 years from now. Discovered the vaccine for 1 human and animal virus, and we built a facility we're going to learn to feed the world. By the way, we did all that in just 36 months, and we're ready to do whatever's next. So we're going to take a new direction. We're going to go a different way. We're going to mimic the major gift experience all the way through the funnel. The opportunity is there for philanthropy. We have access to technology and to data better than we've ever had before. You've seen much of it today. Great partners in our space. We can acquire information about our prospects, about how they want to be engaged, the stories that they want to engage with, the asks that are appropriate for them, when they're appropriate to get them to give. We can do that. It's at our fingertips. But we must choose to innovate. Our universities deserve it. Our faculty, our staff, our students. Society deserves it. Philanthropy is and remains the fastest way to solve the problems facing our world. Our work is hard, but it's worth doing. Let's get to it. Thank you. Question?
Who else is ready to run through a brick wall with John and the Kansas State team? I think we'll do this one. Their careers page just got 250 hits. And they are hiring, and Manhattan, Kansas, as I hear, is a wonderful place
Great place to live.
Yeah. We have some time for questions. So questions for John. Anthony, let me run. Here we go.
How many frontline fundraisers do you have?
So we have about 35. We also have digital development officers, but we've grown from about 27 to 35. And I'll tell you this, over the last 2.5 years, we've grown and hired about 10. And until July, all 9 of the previous hires had no fundraising experience, and that was by intention. We targeted people not at fundraising shops, but talented people outside of our sector to bring them in.
More questions? Oh, right back, sorry.
So you used the word digital fundraiser. Can you describe that, define that?
Yeah, so we have a team of 2 digital development officers. And Eric Holderness can raise his hand over here. He's in charge of that crew, and he'll tell you more about it. In the simplest terms, they're engaging on social media. They're engaging electronically, digitally, through the phone, kind of the middle of the pyramid where we're losing donors, but they're helping people make gifts. In short, particularly for those LIBUNs and SIBUNs that kind of fall off the page, we tell them your job is to remove the excuse that you forgot to give, right? So staying active with them, high volume content. Eric's your guy to help you to understand everything they do.
Got time. Oh, yeah.
What do y'all do with parents and families as far as fundraising and working them into your
Yeah, sadly, not much. Yeah, we've been some of our own worst enemy in that in terms of acquiring that data. We're separate IRF from our institution, so some of the data transfer related to parents is really difficult for us. We see that as a huge opportunity over the next decade to grow and expand. They got 3 jobs: get visits, conduct visits, follow up on visits. That's it. If you ask yourself the task that you're doing, is this helping me do one of those 3 things? If the answer is no, stop, go back to doing something that you can.
So no events, no board management.
They could go to an event, right? But their job is not to plan events. It's not to be paperclipped to their desk, right? Get visits, conduct visits, follow up on visits. 3 things. Yeah.
Getting my steps in. This is awesome.
Sorry. What's the size of your stewardship team?
It's about 6. Yeah.
As you make or prepare to make these changes, what's the thing that keeps you up at night?
Talent. It's a talent play, right? So not only is it about acquiring and growing and retaining our talent. I mean, whenever I stand up here in front of a bunch of advancement professionals and tell you that all of my fundraisers are in the top 10% of the industry, they get a pretty big target on their back. So retention is a big play, but how we do the work. We've been traditional too in terms of department structures, where you heard it from HubSpot this morning. Integrated working, right? More matrix-based working is where you're going to have to go, so we don't lose these friction points. We don't lose this information between content, data, and gift officers. We got to get those people working together. That's a different org structure. That's a different. That would provide some cultural shifts, but our culture's strong, and we feel like we can do that. But it's a talent. Talent's the thing that makes me nervous. The other thing is some things what are beyond your control, right? We're going to have a presidential shift on our campus. A new university president is going to come in, and she might come in and say, $3 billion campaign, this is what we're going to do. I need this platform. So working through that is going to be something we have to tackle.
So with your digital fundraisers, I have a question about, are they engaging people through their personal social media? Are they engaging people through an alumni?
So they've built their own work social media profiles. So they have their work, KSU Foundation, Instagram, LinkedIn, and that's where they're engaging.
How many people are in a typical portfolio, and how do the fundraisers manage their portfolio? Like, how do they keep up on who they should be scheduling a visit with?
Yep, so we have a team, Prospect Analytics, and Julie Craig is here. She runs that team. Max portfolio we want is 75. Okay? If you're going to close 25 gifts, you're going to pipeline 25 gifts, and you're going to find 25 new ones, 75 is about the max. If we know we got that locked and loaded, we have an optimized portfolio, this, again, to get resources, that's how I go get resources. We're losing opportunity here. We need another gift officer, right? And so that's how we do it. So 75 is our sweet spot.
How are you engaging your alumni regionally that are far from your Manhattan campus?
Yeah, it's a great question. We know where they're at. And we do most of it one-to-one, right? I mean, we grew up our donor base. We don't have a regional team. Our gift officers do a lot of travel. They do a lot of travel across the country. And our alumni association is actually pretty active and pretty effective, and so they're a great feeder for us. 15% of our alumni give, and for a land-grant state institution, that's pretty exceptional. And it's because they're there, but I don't have any quick fixes on this is how you get people in New York to participate. Again, different technology is going to help us there too.
Time for another one. Anthony, round 3.
One more. So I've been following very closely the work that David Lively has put out there, and obviously he talks about small portfolios, and he's in the, I think, 30 to 50 range, something around there. But most places are very reluctant to decrease their prospect portfolios for a whole host of reasons. How did you do it?
Yeah, so one is defining what a portfolio is. Our portfolios are restricted to gift acquisition only. We don't have qualification as a stage. We don't have identification as a stage. We're an open cultivation organization. We're an open qualification organization. We use data to tell us, here's who we need to go see them. But our portfolios are tight. There's no stewardship phase, right? It is either planned, it is target, planned, or delivered. That's it. And if there's a next gift to come, then we put them back into the portfolio at planned or targeted. And each of them requires a solicitation amount and a solicitation date, an expected amount and expected date. By keeping it tight, right, and restricted to gift acquisition only, that's how we're able to keep them. All right. Thank you.
Round of applause. Thank you, John. Thank you very much.